Wow, that's a lot of junk. I hope you all don't mind, but I'd like to take a quick moment to say a few things that I recorded yesterday in the early hours of the morning when I was very tired. Okay, we're gonna have the shaky cam again. I don't know how well this microphone's gonna work because it has stopped displaying the charging indicator. I'm going the wrong way, but I don't think anyone's here to care. So I don't even know if this thing took a charge at all. Anyway, so oh that is bright. Oh, I'm gonna be driving into that. Oh. Anyway, I have just committed one of the biggest. Oh, my suspension is squeaking at me. I've just committed one of the biggest sins that I can commit on this channel. I sold a computer for a profit. I have not done that in about 7 years, mostly because I give my computers away. So that's partially, I want to merge behind this semi-truck, that is partially what you all are helping me with when you donate. I find people who don't really have any other options. I find people that can't afford a decent computer, or any computer in some cases. And since I have so many parts, I help them. Now, in doing this, I must have spent tens of thousands of dollars of my own money. I've kind of kept myself poor by doing so, because I am in a 2-income family, and yet sometimes I still wonder if we're going to make rent. Being poor is actually costing me money in interest fees, in overdraft fees, in all sorts of ways that I can't even begin to truly express. I myself have worse hardware than some of the computers that I give away. And that does occasionally come to bite me in the butt, you know? Power supplies failing and killing hardware. Hard drives failing and destroying potentially years of data. Cars that need maintenance and don't get them. There's 1,000 ways that not having money is more expensive than having money. So I've decided I've had enough of it. I'm not going to allow myself to be destitute for any longer. I will still be giving away computers. I will. But for the moment, I desperately, something's got to give, you know. I've got 15 credit cards, and each credit card costs me about $45 to $75 a month just to own. I have gotten a secured auto loan using my own car as collateral in order to start paying off the interest of those credit cards. It can't go on like this. This is the sort of loop that catches a lot of the same people that I've been donating computers to. I see it all the time. And yet here I am, diving headfirst into it, just so I can provide some sort of relief in the only way that I know how to the same sort of people that are in this situation already. I can't keep doing it. What I am slowly getting around to is the fact that I am pledging not to sell any of the hardware that is donated to this channel. If it is donated, it's going either in a build or in a donation PC. End of story. What I just sold was a Dell Precision T3500. I just did a video on it. I spent maybe $100 total on it because I overspent on a few things. I just sold it for $150. It should not be that much. The market today is real bad. That honestly should be about a $75 to $100 PC with the specs that I sold it as. And if you haven't seen that video, at the end of the video it had a Xeon X5650. That's 6 cores, 12 threads, 24 gigabytes of RAM, a 256 gig SSD, 3 terabyte hard drive, and a GTX 960. Not a bad little workstation, but can I finally get over? Yes. Not a $150 computer. So I kind of feel bad for selling it, but that's the market we're in right now. Let me rephrase that. I feel bad for selling it for that price. I don't feel bad for selling it. I have too many computers. So, I have personally purchased a lot of things on eBay. I'm taking a gamble. I have used the... Look, here's another trap that you don't want to get caught in, and that's the whole buy now, pay later. We're talking Affirm. We're talking, what did they change their name to? Like Zip or something. Used to be Quad Pay. There's PayPal's Pay in 4. You don't want to get caught up in that stuff. You don't want to get caught up in like Klarna. Because if you look at the interest that you're paying on, a $150 item, you're paying like 500 to 600% interest. I did that. I signed up for one. Because if I pay it off within the first 30 days, there is no interest. I have acquired a lot of parts. Many of them have already arrived. And with any luck, I'll be able to make just enough profit on the parts that I have ordered to not only cover their own costs, but help me pay down some of my credit cards. And maybe, just maybe, I can show you how to get some good deals while doing so. Maybe make a few videos. I don't want to be the here's how you make a profit guy on YouTube. So I'm probably not going to make as many videos on the sales as I do on donations or, whatever I find in the trash. So don't expect a content mill where I sell computers. With that, I wanted to thank all of you for your continued support, especially in enabling me to not only continue to donate PCs, but increase the quality and quantity of PCs that I donate every month. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot to the people that I donate to. I try not to get too many videos on the people that I donate them to, because a person's situation, when it's that bad, can often be a very embarrassing subject. These are people who work hard. They work hard in life, and they have just met red light after red light, and it's embarrassing. So they often don't want to be on camera, and I don't want to be the guy that's like, look how nice I am for helping uplift the unworthy. I don't want to be that guy. So we'll see how many more donations I film. Probably not many, but there will be some on occasion. I don't intend to film the sales. It's just, I'll film the building of the PC, but not the sale. The only thing you might hear is if I mention it on my Patreon, linked down below. That is the best way to support me, by the way. I make barely anything on ads. Yes. And on top of that, the only real clue that you're going to get on YouTube that I've sold a PC, if I've built it with my own money and there are no donation parts inside it, odds are it's already been sold by the time the video comes out. So, there is that. I needed to get that out there, off my chest, sort of. This is going to be a big year for this channel. I've made some investments that are a little bit risky, perhaps, but it's going to be good. If you'd like to see the behind the scenes on my journey out of crippling debt, I am about $12,000 in debt at an average interest rate of, drum roll please, 44%. Yeah. That's compound interest. That's credit card interest. So, with that said, thank you for sticking with me. Where's my coffee? I hope this is cold enough to drink by now. I can't eat. And here is to the near future, the middle future, and the long-term stability of this channel. To prosperous. Or, I can't even speak right now. I've had no sleep. That's hot. That was not ready to drink. So with that, thank you for tolerating this shaky cam view of me, and I really hope that my microphone is still on. I can't tell. I can't see. Got the sun in my eyes. I can't see if the light's still on. Either way, I think it's time that we move on to the actual video. Thank you. Hello, and welcome. As much as I would love to just dive right into the video, we do have an unboxing to take care of. I know who this is from. Thank you very much. I also know what's in here, even though I haven't fully unboxed it yet. So, I've been told that there's a bunch of coolers in here and a couple of... You did get me a few batteries. Oh, God. Did you say there were two? How many is this? A 50-pack. I'm not running out of 2032 batteries anymore. Wow. I thought maybe you sent a couple, like, 4-packs or something. Okay. Wow. So, that caught me off guard. I've been told there are 4 CPU coolers. These are Thermaltake Assassin 120s, Assassin X 120s, Refined SE. This supports all of the major CPU sockets. It's actually pretty... I mean, it doesn't support AM3, but I mean, that's getting pretty old at this point. That's pretty good. I really appreciate this. This is something that I can and will use aplenty. So there should be 4 of those. Wow. There really are 4 of those. Goodness. Thermaltake makes some really good coolers, by the way. So, very, very cool. Thank you so much. Yeah. Looks like we've got some Arctic MX4 thermal compound. Hey. 8 grams per tube. We got 2 tubes. That's pretty cool. Looks like they've covered up a lot of the box info. If someone could tell me, what is the thermal conductivity of this Arctic MX4? because I have a ton of this Protronic stuff, which advertises a little over 3 watts per meter Kelvin. And it would be interesting to know, oh, maybe I can, no. It would be interesting to know if this is any better. Very much so. Actually, no, that's not going to work. So then we have 2 Thermaltake 700 watt power supplies. I cannot tell you how amazing that is, and I think I'm going to have to put these right back in here because I actually have not, I don't want to spread them out here. They need to go back down to my garage where the studio is. Now, the reason that that is significant is because I have several very, very awesome projects coming up involving dual CPU boards. And these happen to have 2 EPS 12 volt pins, which works for me because I don't really have a lot of power supplies that can do that. At least not ones I can trust, or ones that were meant for me to use for that. So I'm going to box this back up so I can bring it down to the studio. Thank you. That is huge. And with that, oh, I forgot how heavy this was. Let's move on to the video. Oh, I almost died. Whew. Took about an hour, but my coffee's finally cool enough to drink. If only just barely. So, oh, I bet that stuff's still cold. Anyway, today's video is all about this pile of garbage, awesome garbage, sitting right in front of me. Now, I set out to build the cheapest, modern-ish gaming PC that I could. I wanted 6 cores, I wanted 8 gigs of VRAM, and enough power supply to actually power it, along with enough storage to actually handle all that, well, junk. So, here's what we've got. The SSD is a 500 gig 850 EVO, I think. I actually haven't, oh, I got the hiccups now. Great, I haven't opened this yet, so we're about to find out if I got scammed. I don't think I did. It looks like an 850 EVO. Yes, 500 gig 850 EVO. Now, what's all this? Why does the SSD have a CD for drivers? Okay. Anyway, I paid about 20 bucks for that, which, honestly, not too bad. Now, granted, that was a local deal. So, some of you may not find that deal. But what you can do for about the same price is you can easily find a 250 gig SSD. Now, this one was donated to the channel, so we're not going to be using that in this particular build. But this easily can cost about 18 to 20 bucks on eBay. Buy it now, no haggling. Which means any of you could get this SSD. And most of you, if you look carefully, could get this SSD. So there's our first part out of the way. Next, power supply. Now this is a 600 watt power supply. This actually isn't what I had originally planned on using for this build. I had a 620 watt power supply that I got. It was like a Rosewill something. I got it for 12 bucks. Unfortunately, the power supply arrived well before the rest of the parts, and I might have used it. I might have installed it in a different PC and then gave away that PC, so, ooh, whoopsies. Anyway, this 200 watt actually came in a PC that I got from a gold scrapper, and I paid $20 for that entire PC, at which most of that PC has already been used. Funny enough, that PC, most of that PC is what I gave away with that other power supply, so. Anyway, So we're still going to count that price. My arm's been hurting lately. Next, we have a GTX 1070. I paid $70 for this. That's honestly really good at today's prices. I didn't really do anything special. I just went on eBay. I found one that was listed at 75 and said, hey, would you take 70? And the seller just said, yes. So free shipping too. There are tons of these at or around $75. I highly suspect that any of you who offer about $70 for these will probably get the exact same. Yeah, sure, because, you know, it's only $5 off. I haven't tested this card yet, though, so I'm beyond the return window. It'll be fine. I bought like 4 of them. Not from the same seller, but for about the same price. I paid between $70 and $75 for each. I think except for one, which was $82, and only because that one did not include free shipping. So, what are we going to use about the motherboard? See, there's not a whole lot you can do for 6 cores. Not for modern stuff anyway. You can easily throw together an x58 system, as we did in one of my latest videos. In fact, multiple of my latest videos. Wow, I've been doing a lot of x58 recently. But that's not exactly a modern CPU. And even if you went with an x5690, you're not gonna get that far, especially if you need like AVX2 support, which some games do require. So I went with Intel's 9th gen. Now, that is new enough to where you can get some pretty good CPUs for it. I actually have a Patreon video linked down in the description where I basically built this exact computer but for more money. I put a Xeon E2236, I believe, in there. That's 6 cores, 12 threads, and not very expensive. The motherboard that we used in that video and in this video is actually from a Dell Precision. I believe it's a T3650? 36, I don't know. I will write that in a little caption down below so you can know what this comes from. Might be like a 3630. Either way, this is Intel's 9th gen. It is a completely bog standard micro ATX motherboard. Yes, I know. From Dell. A regular motherboard. That never happens. But it did on this one. Now the downside is you will not get an I/O shield because the case that this goes to, I have one right here. This is what a Precision 3630. Okay, so 3630. Point is, this case has the I/O shield built in, and there's oh boy, not a whole lot you can do about fixing that if you're going to use a non-Dell case. So, I mean, that's really a minor thing. The point is you'll have a PC that you can use. Not that it's going to be super pretty, although it will look fairly decent. Now, downside of this motherboard, number 1 was, of course, the lack of an I/O shield. Number 2, you've got an integrated backplate for your cooler, which means you can't use a standard cooler on this. But that's okay, because I got this. I paid $499 for this CPU cooler. Now it's... Oh, it came with thermal paste. We're going to use that. Had to take a break for a second there. This does have another feature about it that I really friggin' love, and I really wish more motherboards would use. So, these 2 X4 slots, they have open backs, meaning you can take pretty much any card, including a full-length card, and insert it into that X4 slot. Now, yes, you do get reduced bandwidth by doing so, but I'm talking this is really useful for like RAID cards, network cards. Some sound cards have really long slots for really no reason. But that is a feature that I really love about this board. It also has a single M.2, which is capable of both NVMe and SATA. And if you use SATA, it doesn't disable one of your SATA ports. That's uncommon. This board also has a front panel USB-C connector, bog standard. We do not have to worry about that because our case doesn't have that. It also has USB 3 right there. And, well, that's about it. So, there's our motherboard. Oh, yes, that's right, I got the CPU in. i5-8400. 6 cores, not really much to write home about. It's fast enough at 2.8 gigahertz, that's the base speed, but it boosts up to, I think, like 4.2. And it will hold that boost as long as the cooler is adequate, and it really is. It's an i5-8400. So, first things first, I want to see if that cooler that I got will work. I have other options, but they cost more. So, socket looks good. Anytime that you are using a used motherboard like this, especially if it came out of a workstation, you do really want to inspect that CPU socket. I see some thermal paste gunk. Got it. So, yeah, we're good. Let's go ahead, and I know I haven't even gotten to the rest of the parts yet, but I want to see if the cooler works. And the best way to see if that works is to put the CPU in. So, let's see. We want to put it in like so. Nice. Ta-da. Now I want to see, this thermal paste here is probably pretty garbage, but it's probably adequate for what we're doing. So I don't really care. And this might be too tall, but there's only one way to find out. My God. It works. It works. Oh, that was the only thing that was really catching me up about this build, but we're good to continue. So, obviously, if you do go with a 250 gig SSD, you're not going to have a whole lot of storage for games, which is why I picked this 3 terabyte hard drive, which I got for 20 bucks. Now, sometimes I get lucky and find these for 5 bucks, but this one, unfortunately, I did not get lucky on, and $20 is what I paid for it, so I really hope it works. It's another thing I haven't actually tested. So, next. I have 3 sticks of RAM. We're only going to use 2. I have 3 sticks because I can't help myself. This is DDR4. DDR4 is skyrocketing in price right now because, thank you AI data centers, but you actually can still get these for a reasonable price. I paid $18 for this stick. I paid, I think, $15 plus some change for this one. And this one I paid $21 for. They are all 8 gig sticks. So if we count these two, that's about 40 bucks for 16 gigs. I'm going to save this one for another build because it's got a fancy heat spreader. 2400. This one is 2666. Hey! And this one is 2133. We've got all the speeds today. Now I'm going to match these two together because they're both, they both look black, so they're going to kind of match if you look at it from the outside. So, works for me. Set this, you know what? I know what to do. We're going to go ahead and pop this one out and pop this one in. Yeah. That's how we'll keep that one safe. And I certainly won't lose it. So let's put these in. What's our slots? 3, 1, 4, 2. Okay, so we want the white slots. All right, this might trip us up. We have a single 1 rank by 8 and a single 2 rank by 8. The ranking is different, so we'll see. Anyway, these boards support Xeon CPUs, which aren't that much more expensive than the Core i series. That E2236, which I think I have in the other one, I only paid like 60 bucks for that. So again, 6 cores, 12 threads, and it's a modern CPU. So pretty good. Wow, I don't know about this RAM. We'll find out. We're not going to discount it yet. But what I'm getting at is if you use one of those Xeon CPUs, you unlock access to cheap ECC DDR4. Catch is it must be non-registered ECC. This will not work with registered ECC. I found that out the hard way because this is not the first or second or third time I've tried to make this goddamn video. Okay, so we have our basic system. Let's go ahead and power it on just to see if it works, because that is kind of important. I have not tested any of these parts, except the power supply, but that hardly counts. Let's get that there. We're going to try without our graphics card for the moment. Technically, this also supports up to an i9 9900, but that's fine. Let's get our monitor, and because this board has 2 DisplayPort outs. Oh, hey, my DisplayPort to VGA adapter is already on the VGA cable. Perfect. Let's get that there. Plug this in. For those of you who've been here for a while, you might recognize this as the first monitor that I really used on this channel. So, I mean, that's cool. I don't remember anything about it. I think it's like 1360 by 768 or something like that. Oh, I need some power cables. Here we go. Short one can go to this. Make sure that's off when I first plug it in. Okay, we've warmed up enough. If you ever bring in electronics from the cold, you will get condensation on them, so you got to wait for them to warm up a little bit. Okay, is this on? Is my power strip on? Nope. My bad. Okay, so that's on. This is on. Now this might just turn on. Now, do we have a screen? That is the big one. Grab this. Now that's another thing about these is they have a pretty standard front panel connector. And this is it here. Okay, this took us a little longer than I would like to admit. There were a lot of small things that kept leading me down the wrong path. Now, at first, I couldn't get a screen to show up at all. It just kept blinking at me. Now, luckily, I did figure out which pins to put the power LED on, which means I now get the Dell, well, they used to be beep codes, but they're just blinking codes. And I would constantly get 2, 1. That means bad system board. Now, I was so upset. I kept trying things, and I was just this close to scrapping this video altogether and returning the motherboard when something I did, I don't know what, just showed a screen. Now, that doesn't mean this board is fine. Even after that, I was having issues with these 2 further slots from the CPU. Any RAM I put in these 2 slots would not work whatsoever, even if it worked in the closer 2 slots. I could get 2 8GB sticks to work in these closer slots. Unfortunately, that's single channel. So, in the end, I pulled the CPU and replaced it. I didn't replace the whole CPU, I just reseated it. And for whatever reason, that seems to have worked. So, I even replaced the CMOS battery. It was only at like 2.9 volts, so it is a little tiny bit low, but probably not low enough to cause all this. I even changed power supplies. So, Yeah, the power supply was fine. We're going to go ahead and switch back to our Thermaltake 600 because this is a Smart 500, and I like having 600 watts with that graphics card. Now that we know it's not the power supply. Okay. Now the real question is, will it still post? And I got too many things back here, like always. First, our motherboard 24 pin. Next, our CPU 4 pin. And on. Now, what this motherboard likes to do is it likes to just kind of hang out for a little bit, doing basically nothing. You just wanted to prove me wrong, didn't you? Okay. Well, you're not blinking at me. That's good. Okay, we've got an output. We're still posting. Now, at this point, I'd like to try our GTX 1070. So, we're going to go ahead and slot this sucker in. We'll go ahead and get our 8-pin connected. Could be worse. Okay, that's connected. It's showing white. Let's go ahead and pop our DisplayPort adapter in. And let's see what happens. It's just not happy about that. Okay. At this point, maybe we do have a bad power supply. Let's try that, that Smart Power 500 I just pulled. Because the system posts without this plugged in. Now, maybe the power supply is still good. Maybe we have a bad graphics card. I've seen that. There's only one way to really find out, is to keep trying. So, this is off. We'll go ahead and get our 8-pin connected. If this is bad, that's unfortunate, but not the end of the world. I do have plenty of other 1070s, and I can get this one returned. So let's get our CPU connected, and let's see. Oh, I need power. Okay. That's a good sign, I think. I'm going to give it a second, just to make sure it's not going to power cycle itself 1,000 times. But so far, so good. No screen yet. Oh my god, okay, we got a screen. So, here's what I've learned. I've learned that this power supply might actually be bad. So, oh, okay. Starting to kind of wish that I hadn't given away the 620 watt power supply that I gave away. I could have put a Smart 500 watt in there. 500 watts is technically enough for the system, even if I want more. My whole thing is, this smart power supply was donated to us, and I intended to sell this PC, and I can't do that now. So what I might do, you know what? I've got an idea. I'll be right back. Okay. Gotta be careful with this package because it has my home address on it, but I've had this for about 1 billion years. It's an 850 watt Thermaltake power supply. Nothing really all that special. The only problem is it's modular, and I don't have any of the modular cables. This has a 24 pin, looks like one PCIe 8 pin and one 6 pin, and of course a CPU or EPS 8 pin and 4 pin. This would have been a really kick-ass power supply back in the day. But without those cables, I couldn't really do anything with it because I have no Molex and no SATA power. So I bought this. Supposedly, this is the correct... Y'all get open, damn it. Supposedly, this is the correct accessory to get SATA power. Now, this, again, we wouldn't be having this issue if I had not, well, given away the power supply that I built for this system. So, what can you do? Let's go ahead and pop this smart power out here again. I don't even remember where I got that thermaltake power supply. I don't know if it works, but it's worth a shot. Wow. This is a chunky boy. Let's just start with the basics. For the moment, we've got our 8 pin. We've got our CPU EPS connector, which will indeed one part of that. There we go. Really, I could probably just plug this one in and that would probably help us out in the long run. We'll try that next. Plugged in. You can tell how much I trust this power supply. Okay. No blinking. That's good. And we have a screen. Okay. So, next, let's go ahead and plug in just the 4 pin, because that's really all we need for this motherboard anyway. Verify that everything is still happy. We have a screen. And finally, you know what? Let's plug in a hard drive. Something sacrificial, just in case that's the wrong cable. Here we go. This'll certainly act as a what is this, 80 whole gigs. So let's go ahead and grab our mystery modular cable, which should be the right one, but I haven't verified. It's been sitting on my kitchen table for like 2 months. Grab this, plug it in. And see what happens. Spins up. That is a noisy, noisy hard drive. The fan on the Thermaltake took a little bit to spin up, but that might be fine. We are looking good. Let's go into the BIOS. What is it, F2? And look at that. It detects our hard drive. So this looks to be the correct cable. Oh, hallelujah. I've been at this for far longer than it might seem. We're passing about 4 hours of work now. And I got to get this done before my wife gets home. So, let's move on to the next step. Ooh, I have scissors. Looks like should be fairly easy to open. What we have here is a really nice case from Antec. It's the NX200M, maybe? Yes, it is. I really like this case. 40 bucks. 40. And you get hard drive support. You get a tempered glass side panel with a hinge. which I know some people don't like it. I do. Look at that. Look at that. My luck with tempered glass is not great, so I'm going to set it way off to the side. This is what our little 9th gen system is going to live inside. So first things first, let's go ahead and get you closer so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, these are actual metal thumb screws. Usually these are knurled plastic at this price point. So I need this. Okay. So I need to put in a couple of standoffs. One here and one up here, which I can't really see very well. Well, I was going to try these dollar store pliers, but they've got a little bit of an overbite to them. So that's... Wow. That's bad. Ooh. But that's okay. We've got these dollar store needle nose, which actually do seem to work. Okay. Perfect. Go ahead and slide this right in here. Everything seems to line up perfectly. That is awesome. So let's go ahead, and I think that this screwdriver is magnetic. Perfect. Go ahead and get our screws installed. And there you have it. All of our screws are in. Next, let's, Now, I will say, which way does that go? There we go. Now, I will say that some of these motherboards have an additional fan header up front. This particular one, for whatever reason, does not. So we only have to worry about this single fan. At this point, I think we need to bust these out of here. Now, before I go installing a graphics card or anything like that, I think we need to get our front panel and all that stuff connected. Now remember, on this board, your front panel is up at the top, not at the bottom. That should be all that we care about. I need to make sure you're still in frame. Good enough. Now, front panel is fairly simple. Of course, I can't see. It's just the standard Intel front panel layout. Front panel connected. Let's pull that through. Now I think our USB 3 will want to come from below a little more. Yeah, so let's get that just like so. Now, on the Dell case, if this comes out of a case, like a proper Dell chassis, the USB 3 usually has a bunch of pressure on it, which means sometimes these USB 3 ports are damaged. Hopefully we don't have that here, but only time will tell. So let's see here. HD audio is, of course, towards the back of the case. On the bottom. And our USB, I think that's actually this long one here. Just put it in how it fits. And that should be everything we need to wire. Let's get our power supply in. Actually, no. Let's get our hard drive in. There's a couple of ways to do this. So let me show you once I find proper screwdriver. You'll find two screws on the very bottom of the case. those screws hold the hard drive cage in. Now, two things of note. Number one, technically speaking, this case supports two 2.5-inch drives and two 3.5-inch drives. For the 3.5-inch, you can have one on top. If you have two of them, you're going to want to mount the top one first because you need to get access to these holes here. Then you can have your second one mounted just underneath. And underneath that, on the bottom of the case, you can mount another 2.5-inch drive in addition to this one. We will only be mounting a single drive of each type, so that does not matter to us. Between us, I really hope this untested drive works because I don't want to have to dig it back out. That's that's basically it. Okay. That's in. Now we just secure it with those same two screws that we took out moments ago. You do not want to over torque these. It will strip right out and then you're kind of boned. That's it. Now, power supply time. Last time I built in one of these with a huge power supply, it was not modular. This is going to be so much nicer. Oh. I need that hard drive cage out. That's the only way we're going to get this power supply in, is to get that cage out first. Once the cage is out and the power supply is in, we should be able to put the cage back in, no problem. I hope. Now, this case was not designed for big boy power supplies. Okay, so that's in. We have our fan facing downwards. Oh dear. Oh. Our, Alright, because of this, I'm going to have to do something about this case real quick. I need to trim some of it. I don't know if I can. Maybe it's flimsy enough for me to just bend it out of the way. Okay, I'm surprised that worked. Camera, will you focus? Yes. Yeah, that's not great, but it'll do. It will do. Now the question is, can I get our hard drive cage installed again? Need these cables to stay out of the way for at least a couple seconds. That's not out of the way. Oh no. This poses a conundrum. No, our power supply is too long. Okay, we can't have that power supply and this hard drive. I'm gonna do a little think. I'll be back. Okay, so new plan. I do need to sell this PC for reasons that I explained in the intro. Now, what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've spent money on a new Thermaltake Smart 600 watt power supply that should be here at some point. That will replace this 500 watt that was donated to the channel, and that should make up for me having to sell something that was given to me, which I really do not like to do. Secondly, oh man, these are all tangled up. I guess there really isn't much of a secondly. We're gonna go with that. This is not ideal. Oh yeah, secondly, I used the underbite pliers to straighten out the back of the case, so those worked in my favor, I guess. This needs to go, I believe, up here. Tuck that out there. This also does have the advantage of having all of its cables, and they're very difficult to lose. So let's tuck our graphics card power up through here. I think that's the best place for it to be. Our CPU power, of course, will go up here. Well, let's go ahead and get all that plugged in. Obviously, minus the graphics card because it's not in here yet. So, motherboard power, and then we can do our best to cable manage in the back. Should be good. Let's go ahead and put our graphics card in, shall we? Oh. Oh. That's a big boy. Try and get all that. Oh, there's a cover on the back that I've got to take off. Or at least loosen. Nope, needs to come all the way off. Okay. That's off. Graphics card installed. Graphics card plugged in. Graphics card secured. Just like with some of the other stuff, you don't want to crank it down, otherwise you will strip this. It is very thin metal. Just snug is fine. Get our little fancy protector there. And that's stripped out. Okay. Perfect. Anyway, so this is plugged in, that's plugged in. Let's go ahead and attempt. Well, there really isn't a whole lot of cable management that can be done with this. Pull it off to the side here, I suppose. Tuck it all up here, more or less. Maybe. Or I could just stuff it all down here. I like that idea better. My zip ties are in the garage, so I'm going to use this one that came with the case, as tiny and pathetic as it is. Wow. That's nothing. That ought to do that. Okay, and the case can keep the rest. Oh, maybe these will... Can't even cut the zip tie. Okay. Maybe the dollar store pliers weren't the greatest, so let's go ahead and use these actual snips. Now, for our SSD. Let's get this undone. Now what you have to do is install the SSD kind of upside down. So let's get that done. All right, that's kind of the best I could do with the cable management. A lot of stuff's getting stuffed off to the side. But it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to stay in one spot. Now let's flip back over to the other side. Did I successfully get all those extra cables kind of slacked out of there? Yeah. Well, I mean... That's kind of garbage. Well, I did what I could. Maybe I've got another twist tie somewhere I can use. That'll do. More or less. Okay. Get that clipped off. Okay, I think we're actually ready to install Windows or Linux or something. Let's see what happens. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and risk it. Let's put our side panel on. Not that this one's that hard to remove. Oh, get on there. These are kind of hard to line up. There we go. Perfect. In fact, I'm even going to take this off. Oh, wow, that's a lot of static. Guess that's why they call this static cling. Oh. Okay, at this point, all that's left to say is, does it work? So let's properly dispose of the trash. Get these closer for no apparent reason. Got my iod connected, but we just want to see if it'll post first. So, power supply on. Just doing its usual thing. Perfect. This is expected behavior. Windows ISO. What's our boot menu? Is it F12? You know what? Let's disable the errors because everything's working just fine, and it will stop at those errors every single time if I don't disable them. Okay. I can't outright disable the warnings and the errors and all that stuff, but what I can do is I can tell it to just keep going even if it detects an error. So let's see. One-time boot menu. Okay. Took us a second to get there, but now that I've got everything configured in the BIOS, and hopefully remembering my settings this time, I'm going to go ahead and install Windows. Yes, it's Windows 10. This is a Windows 11 capable machine, but I'm not going to bother with that whole Microsoft account thing. This is just going to get sold on the marketplace, and if I try to set one up with Windows 7, it's going to ask for my Microsoft account, which I don't have one. So I'm not going to bother with that. Windows 10's fine. And with that, I'll see you on the desktop. Well, it's a new day. I just woke up, so obviously I am perfectly refreshed. Okay. All of yesterday, all of last night, I kind of fought with this PC. I'll explain that at the end of the video because it's really nothing consequential and it was a whole lot of effort for absolutely zero return. But as of this moment, we are fully up to date. I've got a couple of games installed for us to test. I know they'll work just fine. I do know that they'll work just fine. And again, that will also be explained at the very end of the video. And it certainly isn't because I've done this 4 times. I've decided that when I go to sell this PC, we're going to go ahead and upgrade to Windows 11 after I've deleted all my stuff off of it. And that might help it sell. I hope. I don't actually know. A lot of people like 10 more than 11, myself included. But I digress. Let's dive right in to MechWarrior 5. And here we are on high settings. This looks great. We're seeing anywhere from 80 to 110 FPS. This is honestly an excellent performing game. And it still looks pretty good. This is great. Oh. Well, the game is running flawless. Honestly, there really isn't a whole lot of... honestly, there really isn't much point in actually testing the rest of the games. But we can at least jump into... oh, who's shooting at me? Oh, no, you don't. We can at least jump into Dark Souls 3 and see what we can do. Ooh. Grabbed an old Rock Candy Xbox 360 controller. It's kind of scuffed and broken, but it should be good enough for us to at least complete the tutorial. And I really hate Dark Souls on a mouse and keyboard, so... I mean, so far, so good. So far, so good. We're seeing no stuttering whatsoever. Well, I thought I had enough to tank that. I guess not. Either way, this is performing great. No issues whatsoever. But of course, I knew that. So, I hinted at a problem. I'm going to need this keyboard. You see, I've encountered an issue on this oh, well. Guess my lapel microphone's almost dead. Gotta finish this fast. Yeah, is it doing the thing? Yes, it is. Okay. So, every time you power on this machine, it fails to boot. The first time. If you press F1, it always works the second time. Seems this is just a random problem that happens with random Dells. I don't really know how to fix it. It just kind of does its thing. But wish I knew how. And I also hope that my lapel microphone's still recording. It's still a great PC. It just has a few issues. And I'm so convinced that this is a great option that I am using one that's exactly the same as my main gaming PC right now. No, it's not because my power supply died and killed my RTX 3070. No, why would you ask such a thing? Okay, yeah. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and install Windows 11 on this and wipe all my data first, of course. I'm so tired, I don't really know a great way to end this video. So, thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to send us parts to assist with builds like this, you can find my P.O. box in the description below. If you liked this video, a like would be appreciated. It helps me in the algorithm. If you want to see more stuff like this, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching.